Hello again, and welcome back. My name again is Tom Nelson, and this is part 2 of the 5-part series on resolving cholesterol issues naturally. So why your body needs cholesterol. I've often been asked, why don't we just install a filter in our bloodstream, filter out all of that cholesterol, and resolve this whole mess once and for all? Well, the answer is your body does need cholesterol. In fact, you would probably die if you didn't have it. So first, there are some basics that should be covered that explains why your body needs cholesterol. Your body is made up of 37 trillion different independent cells, and you're going to learn that cholesterol is very important to every single one of those. So every cell in your body operates independent of every other one of those 37 trillion cells. Each is protected by a membrane. I call it a hairy ping pong ball because that's what it looks like if you could see it. And that is called a membrane. And that membrane totally surrounds, it totally encapsulates each and every one of those 37 trillion cells that make up your organs and tissues and everything in your body. So it plays a very important role. That membrane, besides separating the outside environment from the inside, it protects each and every one of those cells. And that membrane is one of the keys to why your body needs cholesterol. Your blood vessels are another good reason. So this is a human cell. And you can see that the outer portion of this is the membrane. You can see it all around. You see that it has little hairs on it called cilia, and that protects the cell. But there's much, much more to this. You see in the upper left is an exploded view of a capillary blood vessel. And you see it again right at the very top in the center, which is nestled in among what's called the extracellular matrix. It's a structural material that ties all of these cells together. But that extracellular matrix allows for a space all around each and every one of your body's cells. And that allows very rich oxygen and nutrient-rich plasma to flow from those little capillary blood vessels under pressure. Every time your heart beats, it pumps out small amounts of it through those little slits, and then it goes all around the outside of every one of those cells. And so that membrane now separates that plasma from the inside of what I call a little city, because it's really like a little city. It has a city hall, it has factories, it has trucking companies, it has warehouses, it has power plants, it even has a waste management facility. So, in order for that city to survive, it has to draw from that circulating blood all of the oxygen, the vitamins, the minerals, all of the nutrients, amino acids, hormones, enzymes, all kinds of things, thousands of things. And they have to be drawn from that blood and brought into the inside of the city where it can use it. And when it does pass through that membrane, then enzymes on the inside are going to break it down. They're going to convert it into a usable form, and they'll store it in the warehouse until the rest of the city needs it. So how does all of that get in there? There's, in the lower left corner, you'll see that there's something called transporters. There's receptors, transporters, and gates are different names for different ones. They are designed, they are mounted on the surface of that membrane. They will attract, capture, and transfer one specific substance from that plasma to the inside. One of them may be designed just to do vitamin A, for example, or another vitamin C, or another insulin. The one shown in the bottom left is the insulin receptor. And the way that works is it attracts, captures, and passes one molecule of insulin through the membrane. And when it does that, it triggers a gate to open that allows one molecule of glucose to enter. So that's the way all of those membrane receptors and transporters work. They attract, capture, and pass through whatever it is they are specifically designed to pass through. So as they deplete the blood or the plasma of all of those nutrients, then another capillary blood vessel on the other side, as you see on the right-hand side, That one is designed to reverse. It has a vacuum. And you see at the upper right that the slits allow that vacuuming, the pumping action of the heart, produces a vacuum on that side, and it picks up all of that spent plasma, the plasma that's had all of the nutrients removed. And it also picks up some waste products, although most of those are picked up by a third capillary vessel down on the bottom, which is your lymph system, which picks up most of the waste products and other things, in fact, 5 gallons worth every single day. The capillaries on the left, which is actually the venule side, the vacuum side, that'll pick up somewhere in the neighborhood of 17 to 18 quarts of fluid a day and recycle it. Your blood recycles completely, 25 times every day. Well, now back to why then does these little cities need cholesterol? Those enzymes, there's over 1,000 of them inside each one of the cities, and there's over 1 million of some of them. And each one of those enzymes is designed to only do one thing. And so when they've done their one job, they're used up and they have to be replaced. So every time, again, like I said, every time something passes through that membrane, those enzymes act on it and they modify it so that it can be used inside the city. Well, there are 35,000 enzyme reactions inside each and every single one of your 37 trillion cells every second of every minute. That's a huge number. 35,000 times 37 trillion. That's a mind-boggling number. But what that's telling you is that there is so much stuff coming through those membranes for those enzymes to act on that those membranes are taking a massive beating every minute of every day. And since they're made primarily of fatty substances, it only makes sense that you use fat to make repairs on it. So that's where the cholesterol comes in. Your cholesterol travels through the bloodstream in those specialized transporters called lipoproteins. And those lipoproteins deliver small amounts of that cholesterol to each one of those cells as they need it to make repairs. So every one of those 37 trillion cells are going to need cholesterol continuously throughout the day and the night in order to maintain those membranes in a healthy level. So cholesterol is also used to make sex hormones like estrogen and testosterone, and your body uses massive amounts of cholesterol to produce those. Cholesterol also collects ultraviolet light from your skin, from whenever you're out in the sun, and it converts that into vitamin D, which is extremely important for your health. And lastly, but not least, cholesterol repairs the damage to your blood vessel walls. Every time you eat a meal, your blood sugars are high for a minimum of an hour. Some people much, much longer, especially if you're insulin resistant or diabetic, and your blood sugars go very high. That causes damage to the inside of the blood vessels. Those blood vessels are very smooth and very soft, very fragile. And glucose is a very abrasive substance when it's in its crystal form. It can literally cut it all to shreds if it were so inclined. And so the cholesterol has to be used throughout the day after each meal to make repairs to your blood vessels in order to keep the inside of them very smooth so that the blood can flow very freely. So it's clear then that cholesterol is a very important player in the maintenance of your body's health. So now let's go to part number 3. You're going to learn about where cholesterol comes from. Thank you, and please share this information with your friends and family.